Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Candidates Forum for the 2024 school board elections to take place next week. Let's start with some housekeeping. Election day is next Tuesday, May 21st. The polls will be open from 7 a.m. till 9 p.m. There are free polling places, the Board of Education building, Presidential Park, and Truman Moon. If you're not sure where you're supposed to vote, please call the district clerk at 845-326-1196. You should also know that on the night of the election, the media facility will exclusively host family members to hear the results, and they will not be available before 9:30 p.m. Having said that, I'd like to introduce the candidates, and you are seated left to right as you will appear on the ballot. So Mr. Andrew Moore, Ms. Robin Stark, Ms. Denise Romero, Mr. Mitchell Williams, and Mr. John Perino. We've reviewed the ground rules, but just to keep it all straight for the public, I've prepared 10 questions for you. We do not have a finish time. Hopefully it will be before the sun rises. I've allotted 5 minutes for each of you to answer questions, although I don't anticipate that you will take all of those 5 minutes. If you find yourself hearing a beep, that means you have 15 seconds left to conclude your remarks. If you are unfortunate enough to hear a series of beeps, that means you must stop speaking immediately, mid-sentence, mid-word, one syllable, and I will be strict to enforce those rules. All righty. Question number one, we'll start with Mr. Moore. Congratulations. The votes have been counted, and you are now a member of the Board of Education. You're on a much-deserved vacation, and you find yourself on the breakfast buffet line. In a casual conversation with a fellow guest, you happen to mention that you're a school board member, and your newfound friend responds, "Really? What exactly do you do?"
That's the question.
That is the question.
All right. First, I want to say thank you for hosting this forum tonight. Yes, my name is Andrew Moore. So if I do find myself in a situation like that, it will be pretty much of a unique experience, but I would definitely speak to what it takes to be a school board member, right? I would start with just understanding that it's a dynamic position, although it's one that's not paid, but it comes with great structure and understanding as a member of the community, especially here in Middletown. You take a president because you are putting the students first, so all your decision-making, your ability to, think about things clearly as a team, making the adequate decisions, whether it comes to policies and procedures, school safety, et cetera, it comes with great responsibility. And it's not one that should be taken lightly or taken as a joke. It's taken as something as seriously because you are committed to the dedication of your position that you have been elected for to hold. And for myself, as someone that's looking to be elected here for the city of Middletown, and understand that, it's really for the children at the end of the day. I have 3 beautiful kids that are thriving in this city. One that's in the honors program, my son is soon most likely to be, and my middle child who's in the arts. It definitely checked off boxes that we've seen as coming up here, from the city and deciding to take on this opportunity to provide our children a better life outside of what we have been used to growing up and coming from tough neighborhoods that we have over the, growing up. My wife being from Newark, I'm being from Brooklyn, and it wasn't easy. So taking this role on as a school board member, although it may seem as a challenge for others, it's one that I'm up for, and one that I'm willing to take pride in moving forward, and letting everyone else know the importance of being a school board member and what it would take as far as the governance, being a part of committees, such as myself, over the last 2 years, being a part of the Fair Funding Committee and our Audit Committee, showing that dedication and perseverance that's required to be a school board member. So hope I answered your question. That was a unique one, but thank you. I'll pass.
Thank you. Ms. Stark. Same
please.
question. Do you want me to repeat the question?
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations, the votes are counted, and you're now a member of the Board of Education. You're on a well-deserved vacation, and you're on the breakfast buffet line. You have a casual conversation with your neighbor, and you mention that you're a school board member. And your new friend says, "Really? What do you do?"
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you and thank everyone for allowing me to be here today. And if I was speaking to someone about me being on the school board, what I would tell them first that it's an honor to serve in my community and to give back and to make sure that I be a viable contributor to the school board, allowing them to promote or assisting in them promoting good ideas, good educational values, safety, and the wherewithal to communicate not only with their peers, but be prepared to communicate with on the city, state, and local level by having the best programs that we can offer the students. So this is what I would tell them, one of the things that I would be interested or that we will be doing.
Concluded? You're done?
That's
Well,
enough.
thank you very much. The omelet bar is to your left. Ms. Romero.
I would say, I am a parent, I'm deeply vested and engaged in our community and committed to the well-being of the Middletown youth. I'll say as a trustee, I have prioritized ensuring every scholar benefits from the exceptional programming and services offered here at Middletown schools, while being mindful of the financial health of our districts and our families. The job of a board member, I'll say, entails policy making. I'll say a lot of our job has to do with goal setting, and that would be it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Williams, well, what do you do?
First, I just want to thank everybody for this opportunity to try and to come on the board again. So what I would say to them, because a lot of people have a misconception of the board that we run the day-to-day. So I say we deal with the policy. We work with 9-member board when we're talking about policy, but we don't handle the day-to-day, just to explain to them. We're here as community members representing the community's interests. We talk about the how, well, we talk about the what, and we give it to the superintendent for the how. So we work collaboratively. So it's a humbling positions where we have to stay humble and work with the other board members, as well as we have to do our homework to know exactly what's going on and have to crunch the data to see if there's progress or a lack thereof, so we know if the right decision is being made. Another thing is we got to hear from everyone. And a leadership role such as this is not just hearing from the parents, it's also hearing from the educators and hearing from the administrators. So with a leadership role, you have to take everybody's voice into account. So that's what I would tell them, and thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Perino, what do you do? I'm not sure your mic is on, but I'm not well-versed in
Aye.
these things.
Board is a corporate body, and we have two major functions. We have a policy function. We develop policy, and we have a policy committee. The second thing we do, we hire the superintendent. And thirdly, while not codified by state regulations or commissioner regulations, we also approve the budget and we work on the budgets. We have a budgetary function. We give our input on the budget. We discuss the budget, and we sometimes say that perhaps we should, to our business person, perhaps we should modify the budget. I think probably I would like to tell the person what we don't do also. We don't operate the district. That's in the hands of we pay the administrators, starting with the superintendent, and we pay the the individuals in individual schools. We cannot solve problems. So if somebody comes to us and says, look, Johnny is having a problem with a teacher, go do something about it. No, we don't do that. We can direct the person to take certain steps, starting with, have you talked to the teacher? Yes, I have. I'm not getting results. Have you talked to the principal? Yes, I have. I'm not getting results. So then it's about time to speak with the superintendent for instruction, and then perhaps the superintendent. So those are some of the things we do and we don't do. I think perhaps one of the former board members who I served with very early in my career summed it up best. We don't run the district, but we see that the district runs well. That was Sue Body. I never forget that. So that's what we do. We're also ambassadors for goodwill, visible at various events. But when we're there, again, we do not, we cannot solve problems, because the only authority we have is when we're sitting around this table. Thank you.
Thank you. Question number 2, we're going to start with Ms. Stark. Who are you? And what in your background makes you qualified to be a school board member?
Well, I am a resident of Middletown for 14 years. I am a parent of 2 children that graduated from Middletown School District. I also am a grandparent that has 5 grandchildren in the district now, ranging from kindergarten to 8th grade. And so it's important for me to be involved in this community along with them so that they can have the best possible education offered by this school district. And what makes me qualified is at one time being a student myself, from kindergarten up to higher learning. And so it's important for me to be active in the community, and this is one and in the district. And because of that, it has invoked me to want to give back to this community in such an awesome, humbling, and honorable way. So I have decided that I want to try to be a viable contributor. Thank you.
Ms. Romero.
Who am I? I am a woman of faith. I am a daughter of an incredible woman who knows no boundaries when it comes to family. I am a mother of 2 amazing, resilient, courageous individuals, ages 19 and 11, and I am a highly involved community member. I am driven by an unyielding dedication to community impact. I am equipped with a wealth of experience in financial service. I am currently positioned as a driving force for change at a credit union. I skillfully facilitate the development of impactful connections across various sectors beyond my professional accomplishments. My commitment to the community surpasses mere professional obligations. I am devoted in my commitment to driving positive change and empowering others within my professional sphere, throughout community engagement, and through my work as a school board member.
Thanks. We'll still remember who you are, so. Mr. Williams.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Absolutely. Who are you? And what makes you qualified to be a school board member?
I'm a humble Christian. I'm a husband of a wife who's a doctor of education. I'm a father of 6 children, 3 which were raised in the Middletown School District. I've worked at the Parks and Rec, as well as the YMCA, doing boxing, as well as doing basketball. I've been involved in this community the whole 21 years that I've been here, as well as Middletown Little League. I love this community. I am solution-focused. I'm a counselor in this community, a substance use counselor in this community. I'm goal-oriented. I look at things like, when I see a problem, I'm like, okay, we got to go to the solution. I set goals and we set objectives to meet those goals. Like, I don't stay stuck. You know, I want to keep working. I'm a very hard worker, very engaged in this community. I have been since I've been here, and I will continue to do that. Since being on this board, we've made so many changes as far as with the graduation rate. Once was what our goal was, one of our goals, 92% in 2023, which we continue to work towards. More kids going to college than ever. You know, just helping out the family members that's in here. I started a program with conflict resolution when they started having fights and different things like that. With me being a counselor for anger management and conflict resolution, I had to step up to the plate and say, well, what can I do? I'm just that type of person. So I thought it was only right that I be on this board so I could let my voice be heard. I am very assertive. I am not shy. I'm always down to sit at the table with somebody so we can have a dialogue about what's going on, so we could come with some type of resolution. You see things as a problem, and once again, it's like we still have to solve that problem. We can't stay stuck there, and we still have to move on. I'm a person who celebrates our families and celebrates our kids. I'm the one who's the loudest at every program that I am at. You're gonna hear me rooting these kids on, because I'm about these kids. I'm about this community. That's who I am.
Thank you. Mr. Perino.
Thank you so much. Very engaged in the community, graduated from Middletown High School. Background, 3 advanced degrees, 7 certifications, worked almost 40 years in the field, another 20-plus years on the board, also working in the adult education program as an administrator with BOSE as the evening administrator for almost 10 years, active in the community, a 56 or 57-year member of the Middletown Fire Department, about the same in the American Legion, a member of the Middletown Elks Club, member of my church, St. Joseph's Mount Carmel, and that's about what I am. As Mitch said, very engaged in the community. I love this community. I was born here, and I know the buildings, and I believe I know the city and the town. So thank you.
Thank you. Third question, Ms. Romero, you'll be starting.
I never answered the question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Moore.
Thank you. Who am I? I'm Andrew Moore. I'm a father, husband, father to 3 amazing children. Kind of like I don't say kind of, I am definitely like a mentor to many of the students and neighbors that I have that surround me. Everyone knows we are the home that likes to have a lot of engagement and fun, but mostly around education and more positive things to come out from the district. I'm big on community. Since I've been here, we moved up here 2020, early 2020, 2021, around that time period, right after the pandemic, or during the pandemic, actually. And since day one, we got involved. My wife and I, my close friends, and we found that our initiative and drive was to build a force community, right? And have an opportunity where we can nurture and build together collaboratively. Since then, I've been nonstop. I've been pretty active within board meetings, town hall meetings, you name it. I've been present and continue to be no matter what. This is actually my 3rd time running for school board. Many may not know, but it's my 3rd time. Actually, really 4, because last year I actually, requested to be the replacement for the previous board member that left. So my consistency, my perseverance, and my drive makes me a perfect qualifying person to be on the board. I've shown my commitment since day one, and I've continued to do so, even now, presently. A little bit about my background. I have a master's in business management and leadership, undergrad in computer information systems and business management. I've worked for the Department of Education for over 10 years since I retired 2-3 years ago, deciding to pursue my simultaneous career that I had at the same time in real estate, which has given me the opportunity to be present more for my family. And it's given me the opportunity to not only have the skill sets that's required here, whether it's forecasting, budgeting, procurement, you name it. I've been in having the experiences through my professions that gives me the opportunity to sit here, to understand what's needed on the board. And understanding that, through all the challenges that we have faced, you need someone that can be able to test those times and be able to stand presently and daily to be able to see that the decisions and the policies that are being made doesn't ultimately affect the students. And I could feel that I am that person that can do so. And I look forward to having that opportunity when the time is met. And hopefully the voters out there get the opportunity to display that with understanding what my goals and our initiatives are, and understanding the vision and the mission of the board that I do see come true with my leadership and my opportunity to sit on the board. So thank you.
Thank you. I apologize, and I'll do my best to follow my own rules. Question number 3, I'll start with Ms. Romero. Shortly after Election Day, you'll be seated at the reorganizational meeting. And one of the first things you'll do is you will select the person to represent the board as board president. The role of the board president has been described in a lot of ways: high risk, low reward, like herding cats. Sometimes it's like leading people who don't necessarily want to be led. So, how would you describe the role of the board president?
I would describe the role of the board president as someone who will be running effective meetings, someone who's going to be working alongside our superintendent to develop our agenda. Very important, he's going to be representing the united voice of the board to the public, which is going to include district, media, community, and he is one to speak on behalf of the board, as that person will oversee all of our relations.
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
I would describe the characteristics of the board president: even temperament. As a leader, you must have even temperament. And sometimes things might happen that's disappointing, and things might happen that's discouraging, but you have to have that even temperament and have that strength. You also have to remain humble, because as a president, you're the president, but you're not the king. So you have to stay humble because it's a 9-person board, right? So you're the speaker for the collective. Once again, keeping your composure, because you're the one that's facilitating and running the meetings. And if someone just gets out of control or disrespectful at a meeting, you must keep your composure, because we represent the district. So it's important that we stand firm and we keep our composure. And as a leader, so important. Same time, you have to be strong, because you're going to be dealing with a lot of different things, a lot of different personalities, a lot of different opinions, and different things like that, and you're going to have to be strong. And at the same time, let the others around you be there to support you. The last one that I have on here is be a great communicator. You want to communicate clearly. You want to communicate effectively. You want to communicate in a timely manner. And that's the characteristics I would say.
Thank you. Mr. Perino.
Thank you. I agree with much of what Mr. Williams said. Run an effective meeting. I would also add that the president speaks for the board. So you need someone who is able to communicate very concisely and clearly, not only to the media, but also to other board members and the public. A board president, oftentimes you have to settle disputes between board members. So you have to be, again, you have to be conciliatory. You have to take everybody's opinion into consideration. And the other thing a board member, a president should do, and we are doing this, develop a plan for onboarding other new board members. That's very, very important. Board members need a introduction to board service. A board member needs to feel comfortable, a new board member. A member needs to know and meet the other board members. So these are just some of the things a president must do. Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Moore?
For the board president, is very important that the board president be neutral, have control, display a high level of articulation and understanding as the collective, to display that leadership. Have the ability to be able to be in control of the meetings, clear and precise, and also just have that support for everyone's opinion on a fair basis, and don't have a situation where you're siding one way. You have to be neutral to be able to definitely get the message across to the community and the stakeholders of this district. Outside of that, just display a level of accountability as well. And understanding that the decisions that you make definitely reflects on the entire collective, and making sure that the decisions that you make are fair and equitable to everyone that has been decided on as you come to the table to make that decision. Outside of that, I will say that's really just some of the characteristics I will see that I'll look forward to, making that decision as we select that board president. Thank you.
Ms. Stark?
I believe that a board president, not only as he works with the superintendent, but works and speaks on behalf of the board, has character, is humble, is a team player, that they're direct and honest, that they act with integrity, not to undermine the other members, but to be a team player and to work to strategize and have a collective voice and to disseminate the duties that need to be done in a proper and adequate fashion so that everyone will benefit from the president's position and the assignment that the president has towards us and and the superintendent.
Thank you. Question number 4. Please describe something you think the district does well. Mr. Williams?
One thing I think the district does well is get the community involved. With the coffee and convos, with the monthly town halls, with the listen and learn, with the open door policies from the administrators as well as the superintendent, with the surveys. So it's a collaborative thing. Even with the hiring practices, we have a thing where some of our students are a part of it, stakeholders are a part of it with the hiring practices. So getting the community involved is just excellent. I have not even seen that ever before. So I think we do that wonderfully. We just make sure everybody takes advantage of it because everybody plays a role in what goes on in this district. So I would have to say that.
Thank you. Mr. Perino?
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. I believe the district does many, many things well. One of the things that come to mind right away is that we offer a variety of programs to all of our students. For example, we're in a high school now. Look at that high school catalog. It appears to be a college catalog. I counted 15 or 20 courses in English, many courses in science. So we have the academy program here. We have the university program here. We've had students walk out of here. Student walked out of here this year with 80 college credits. And it's very common that students walk out of here with 30 credits, and I believe approximately half the students get some college credit. So we do that. The programs, not only in the high school, but the elementary and middle schools, For example, in the middle schools, we offer accelerated programs. We offer enriched programs. In the elementary schools, we also offer the dual language program starting in the elementary schools. Again, there's something for everyone in this district, not only academically, but extracurricular activities. The other day, yesterday I was at a music program, great music department here. We have a strings program. We started, I think, with 10 or 12 students. Now we have 170 or plus students. And if you saw the board meeting, the last board meeting, my heavens, the students on the violins, I don't think some of the college students don't do any better. So the programmatically, not only the programs, but the extracurricular activities, we keep the public informed. There's plenty of opportunities for the public in this district to know what's going on. Mitch mentioned the town halls, and that is correct. We have perhaps one of the best websites in the area. If you go on that website, it's really a professional done website. We just redone that. We just have modified that website. So those are only a few of the things that come to mind. There's many, many others, but
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Moore?
Some of the things that I see the district does well with is it's definitely been an increase in communication, whether it's the school messenger messages, the quick and precise, getting information out to the parents when it comes to either programs or, things that are happening within the school district. Also the class dojo. So it's so much levels of communication that's out there to look to increase parent engagement that I've seen that the district has provided. Outside of the programs, I had the opportunity to, take part in the, Meet the Programs night the other night, and just to see the amount of, from the healthcare side to the science, having my daughter take part in that, and just seeing all the different programs that are provided to the students, it's definitely something that is rewarding. At the same time, seeing the after-school programs that are in place, and the advantages that they can be able to take, even with providing transportation after that, which is pretty great as well. The college credits that's offered, and also the town halls. There's town halls for whether it's through the budget, whether it's individually at each school. There is and has been, I've noticed over the last years or so, that it's been an increase in activities to make sure that the community is involved. So overall, I would say, the programs and the communication is some of the what the things that the district does pretty well of the lately that I've seen. So thank you.
Thanks. Ms. Stark?
Well, as a media communication major, what I notice is that Middletown School District has a good media visual program, and they communicate very well on their signboards and just how they have set up to electronically broadcast what is going on in the community. So we're always aware of that. And also, I notice my granddaughter, she's in music, and they are very, very conscientious of having their students not only practice, but also become very good at it. I know they have all county every year, and you have some of the best students that are competing. The STEM program, that's almost unheard of in some districts. This community offers a lot, and the programs that we have are almost second to none to some of the other programs in Orange County. So this community have the programs. They have the Finance Academy, they have the ROTC. There's so many things to offer here. And with that in mind, anyone that comes to this school district, they have the opportunity to excel and compete on any level, because Middletown School District definitely make it a top priority. And in making it a top priority, it is our goal, or my desire as a parent, as a grandparent, to see, and as just a person in the community, to see all kids in this district excel, because our programs are second to none, and we are definitely good at preparing our children and also getting the information out there to the community to let them know we have a lot to offer and we need to be proud of it. Thank you.
Ms. Romero?
Because I am very highly community focused, one thing that I feel is very good is that the district continues to hire residents. So at this time, we have 46% of employees that live within our district. We offer tailored student education programs to meet the students where they are on their educational journey. We are highly vested, the district is highly vested in instruction, academics, sports, community involvement, and communication, also offering a variety of programs and the college credits.
Thank you. Question number 5. Please describe something you think the district could do better. Mr. Perino. Mic on, please. Mr. Perino, mic on, please.
One of the, as I said, we do a lot of, many things very well. One of the items that we're going to have to do, maybe we should put more emphasis on it, we're going to have in the near future, I see a problem with finances. Moody's Investment Service rates the state as second from the top in debt, right behind California. We're going to have to advocate very strongly with our legislators for a fair share of the so-called quote pot. You live and die with foundation aid. I think 68% of the district, we depend on that. The governor has said there's going to be a new formula next year for state aid. She's also said that she tried this year to get rid of the save harmless provision in the budget. Did not succeed, thankfully. But I would recommend that next year we reinstitute our Fair Funding Committee. We put more pressure on our legislator to be certain that we get a good amount of money next year to help support the program. So that's one thing. There's a couple other things, but we'll stick with that.
Thank you. Mr. Moore?
So the question is, what can we do better, right? I would say this: understanding the demographics that we currently serve here within the district, and I see that as a vital part when it comes to representation. We have about 84% that's Black and brown in this community, and of that, we need to make sure that our students see themselves in our educators. And one thing will be with this, trying to control our teacher retention and our recruitment initiatives. It's pretty vital right now, and especially with over 7,000 students. And honestly, because I am in real estate and I understand the dynamics of the area and what's projected going forward, we are definitely due for an increase in population, which means that we will have to do more heavily recruiting. This comes with becomes important to forecast, right? And as a board member, you need to forecast and see the future and understand how we can best prepare ourselves for when that next boom happens here in Middletown. Because of how we are situated geographically, it's become a highly desirable spot for many families. So with that is, I would say we could definitely do better as far as having more recruiting initiatives, whether it's job fairs, career paths, to be able to attract highly skilled, talented educators and administrators here within the district, and to look to be able to keep them here going forward. Secondly, I would say we definitely need to start rethinking what tracks we may want to put our students on, different degree pathways. I'm a big advocate for having students take an opportunity to get their post-secondary degree simultaneously in high school. The reason for that is we understand that the world is becoming extremely, well, America is, our debt is increasingly rising. And to have a student to be able to go through high school and have college at the same time and be able to obtain a post-secondary degree is vital, because now it gives them an opportunity to not have that financial burden after graduation, especially in high school, to give them that fair chance to be able to excel. There's tremendous amount of companies out there, such as Google, IBM, you name it, et cetera, are looking to partnership with districts to be able to create those different pathways and degrees that be giving them the best opportunity for them to excel further. So that's some of the things I think that could be able to be worked on here in the district. Outside of that will be probably some fiscal responsibility. What I've learned over the last couple of years, being on the Fair Funding Committee and also the Audit Committee, is that a lot of people don't know that the state requires districts to allocate certain funds to capital projects, right? So although we may see that we have a new field or things of that nature, and people may look at that as it's an oversight when it comes to academic programs that you may want to see within the school. So although we are striving in those areas, I would say we should definitely look to find alternative grants, whether it's state and federal, that gives us a better chance to be able to meet those challenges later on. As we know, we are looking to have a small increase in the tax levy, but if you look at inflation right now in America and throughout the entire world, that 1% is it's actually small compared to what it could be if we were able to face a situation where we didn't receive a certain amount of aid. I would definitely, as I'm speaking on that topic, I want everyone to actually do a deep dive into it and review where the areas that we're lacking. As anyone know, state lottery has been a huge component to the school budget, and that has decreased coming for this next school year budget, which has put an impact on our financial budgetary constraints. So I want you guys to really take a real fair look at it and understand that we are in a unique position, such as Mr. Perino said, that we definitely need to start looking for alternative ways and grants to be able to support the district going forward. Thank you.
Ms. Stark.
Well, what I think that the school district can do better is place more emphasis on math, science, and reading. When you look at our scores, we rank in maybe the second out of 10. We say William A. Carter is rated 2. And we say Twin is rated 5. That's not a level that we can compete with the other towns or counties or cities or states. So we need to have a greater emphasis on having command of those necessary and those subjects. And in order for us to be a viable contributor and to have the children go forth into higher learning if that's their desire, then we have to place more emphasis in those areas. Because when we look at how ratings and ranking is set up, right now, Middletown, as a whole of a district, we're not able to compete on the level and be college ready. Now, we understand that some children are not going to go to college, but the ones that have the desire to, we need to help them. We need to start doing more preparation for the PSATs and SATs. I have a friend that started her son when he was 8 years old, and people used to laugh at him. They laugh no longer. He is one of the smartest young men that you can find because his parents saw the need to prepare him and to prepare him early. So if we want to decrease the level of poverty in this area, then we have to prepare our children to be a viable contributor, to be a child, a student of learning, of higher learning, to have that desire. So I think that we need to prepare them. I asked my granddaughter, for instance, she's 6 years old, and I asked her, sister, what do you want to be when you grow up? And she says, a doctor. I said, really? Well, what kind of doctor? I'm not sure whether I want to take care of older people or children, but I do know that I want to help. I said, well, what age should children start learning this to prepare? And she looked at me and she said, right now. All I did was ask her a question. I did not prep her, I did not prime her, and those were her answers. I was thinking about 5th or 6th grade. But you know, she's absolutely right. If we start preparing our children early, then we will no longer be a district where people frown on. We will no longer be judged by our zip code because we will be able to compete with no matter who it is, where they come from, and what they look like. It will be because of what they know. And so I believe we have the equipment, we have the skill to prepare our children. And so I am excited. If this is the mission of Middletown School District, I am excited to be a part because I think that it is a great district, and that's what I believe we are missing. Thank you.
Mr. Mero.
I believe this is a great district. What I do believe that we should have, and it's something that is in fact going to come into fruition, is have a student voice on the board. It's very important that we have a student voice on the board because this person will be able to bridge the gap between the board, the community, and the students. Thank you.
Mr. Williams.
For me, just like I look at the school district and I look at the community, I put it as one Middletown. I'm one who says one Middletown, I'm one who says it takes a village. So one of the things that we can improve in is trying to get the community more involved in the vision of the school district so we know we're one Middletown. There are people in the community with certain skill sets that they can bring to the table. Like we have intramurals set up for they could come, so if somebody does know, because I'll think about financial literacy. Let's go with financial literacy. This school district is economically disadvantaged, right? We have black and brown. So what we want to do is we want financial literacy to be, it's important, right? But that just doesn't have to be just the school district. But the school district working in collaboration with the community and some community members who are financially literate working together, that's how we win. So if we could just reach out more to the community, try to get the community involved and to understand that we are one Middletown. It's one Middletown. If we lose, we all lose. We're all together. If you know something about financial literacy, you should be stepping up to the table and say, okay, how can I get involved? Everybody has a skill set. Everybody has a role to play in the betterment of our kids, because this is our community. The goal is not for the kids just to finish high school. The goal is for the kids to be successful in life. An objective is to complete high school. So once these kids leave the school, they're still in our community. And that's why I say these are our kids. So it's for all of us to step up and do what's right so they can be successful, because that's going to make all of us successful. Thank you.
Thank you. You're halfway through. Keep persevering. Question number 6, we'll start back with Mr. Moore. As a school board member, you may be asked to make several critical decisions. Things you can do aren't always things you should do. True or false? Explain.
That's actually in line of more about your integrity, I feel. If you feel that you have to do something that you're not supposed to do, then you're breaking your moral code. And that doesn't in line with the mission and vision of the school district. So with that, I will say it's false, because you always do what's right. And stay true to your beliefs, stay true to the vision that is set out by the stakeholders and what you feel is needed. But that will be a false statement to say that you have to do something outside of your moral compass. And it actually breaks your integrity and your character to do something that's not right. It's not in the best interests of the district, not in the best interest of the students, not best interest of the stakeholders that are here. So I will say false to that.
Thank you. Ms. Stark.
I would say that it's false. There's a saying, it may be lawful, but it's not expedient. And so just because you can do it does not mean you should do it. And so we should always operate in integrity, not by our desire, just because it feels good to us. But we must strive to do what is right at all times. Thank you.
Ms. Romero.
I'm also going to say false. I'm going to say that you should always do what's in the best interest of the scholar, lead with integrity from the heart, and just be vested. And when I say vested, I mean be someone of trust, a team player, someone who is reliable. That's it. Thank you.
Mr. Williams.
Please.
Sure. As a school board member, you may be asked to make critical decisions. Things you can do aren't always things you should do. True or false? Explain.
That's false. The reality is you're a member of a team, and it's a voting process. So you follow the format of what this is. There's even times where you might vote against, or you're on the opposite side of the decision. And that's just what it is. You got to accept that so that you can move on, because you are a part of a team. So you should always do what's right, always. It's not about what I can do or what I think is right. No, it's about the team. It's about the district. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Perino.
Thank you. Well, you should always be on time for meetings. It's pretty basic. You shouldn't miss meetings unless absolutely necessary. Very important, you should keep executive material confidential, because individuals have been removed from the board because they have violated the confidentiality rule. When you come to a board meeting, you should be prepared. You should not gravitate to negativism. You can vote your conscience and then move on. You need to be a team player. You may debate the issue with a fellow board member, but in the end, you should always try, not always possible, but try to come to a consensus. I want to go back to what another board member said, Horace Belton, a neighbor and friend, and I believe Horace Belton was the first president in Middletown of the AACP. He always said, you can disagree, but don't be disagreeable. That's very important. I've seen it both ways on the board, and believe me, it's a lot easier to be a team player, even though you might not always vote with the team, than to be completely negative all the time just for the sake of being negative. So that's it.
Thank you. Question number 7, we'll start with Ms. Stark. Schools throughout the country have been increasingly plagued with episodes of violence, sometimes resulting in fatalities. How secure is secure enough?
Sometimes secure is not secure enough. However, I think it's important that we try to have put every measure in place to provide and to protect the students, the staff, all faculty members, so that everyone will be in a safe environment. So that may mean that there may be extra security measures. There may be baggage checks. There may be things that cannot come into school. So we have to provide a safe environment where people are not scared. So again, we may have to put extra measures in place. Will we want to? Perhaps not. Will we need to? Perhaps so. We've seen it in so many districts where the warning signs were on the wall, but we ignored them, or they have been ignored. So as the motto goes, if you see something, say something. Does that mean that you're a snitch? No, that means that you're a team player and you're community and safety minded. So it is important that we do everything in our power to protect everyone that's under the roof of our community. Because if one hurts, we all hurt. If one get hurt, we all get hurt. We're all affected by it. So we do need to put safety precautions in place. I may speak at a later time about some other issues or remedies that I have, because I am thinking about that. That is why one of my platforms is safety and accountability. And we all need to be safe and accountable. And I think that it starts at home, that parents need to make sure they know what is in their children's backpack. They need to know that if their children is staying in the room all the time and closing and shutting out from people, that's a warning sign that something is going on and that we need to, or they need to investigate it. You may be afraid or it may be sensitive to say, my child is exhibiting behavior that they shouldn't, or that is not safe for us at home or safe for the public at large. Say it, because it does save lives. Staying quiet, it takes away lives. And we are seeing that every day in our society. So I don't think for 1 minute that it is wrong, unsafe, or not warrant of having extra precautions. So yes, it is important, and we need to do something about it. Before things go on, we don't want to be known for it. Thank
you. Ms. Romero.
Certain situations are unexpected. I trust that we have professional individuals and experts that are knowledgeable of safety and soundness. And I trust that the district is doing what needs to be done and will continue to do so. Thank you.
Mr. Williams.
For me, what comes to mind is intervention and prevention. We do our best we prepare to do our best to prevent, but we're also prepared to intervene. How safe is safe? All we could do is our best, and I know at our district we definitely do. I joined the Health and Safety Committee just because, once again, I see what's going on, so I always want to be involved. I remember at the high school they started the IDs, digital, so we know who's actually going into the schools. Increase the security so we could prevent the bag checks, as well as social workers. so we can see if something is going on with one of our youth, and maybe, once again, prevent something from happening. So we're paying attention. I do conflict resolution, so things don't escalate. If it starts with a verbal situation, we try to intervene to keep things from escalating. Cameras. Also, data. You crunch data to see where are these things happening most. What grade are these altercations happening most? All right, so now we found the grade. So now, what's going on with the kids who these things are happening to? So we gotta take a look at it, and we gotta be preventive, but we also gotta prepare to intervene. And once again, I think the school district is doing an excellent job at that.
Thank you. Mr. Perino.
Thank you. On my little pamphlet that I have on Facebook, the first thing I said, you need to have a safe and secure environment where students can learn and teachers can teach. If you don't have safety and security in a building, believe me, you have nothing. You can't go on. So, a few years ago, there was a march downtown, Stop the Violence Now. And I said everything, I happened to be president then. I said everything is on the table. And I introduced the SROs into the buildings. Today we have an SRO in each building and 2 in the high school. We have camera systems in all the buildings. We've changed the locks on the doors. We rekeyed the doors. We have a large security staff. In this building alone, we have 36 security people. So, is it enough? I don't know. When people say, well, you have too much security, I say, do you remember Sandy Hook? Do you remember Uvalde? Do you remember all the other acts of terrible violence in the country, in the schools? So that's one thing. The other thing, we have to look at our code of conduct. We just revised the code of conduct, I think, maybe 2 years ago or last year. President Williams was one of the co-chairs of the committee along with Mrs. Tobiasen. To create a safe and secure environment, you have to enforce that code of conduct. Everybody has to be informed about that code of conduct. That's not up to us to enforce it. We pay good money to the administrators in each building to do that. They're charged with that. Along with that, the first thing we must do before students come to our buildings, we must go over this code of conduct. We have to go over it with not only with the students, but with the parents. That should be mandatory. For example, you don't bring cell phones into the building. And if you do bring a cell phone, you're going to, there's going to be consequences, and your parents are going to have to come in to pick up the cell phone. You don't run the halls. You go to class. If you don't do it, there are penalties. Again, enforce the code of conduct. It may be painful sometimes, but that's what you have to do to create a safe and secure environment. You can't look the other way. One of the administrators, when I first started teaching, there was an administrator, Mike Edwards, very good, and I'm sure most people know Mike, have heard of Mike, passed now. He said, when you look the other way, that is the worst thing you can do. It's the worst form of discrimination when you look the other way. You can't do that. And I think if this code of conduct is vigorously enforced, which was redesigned a couple of years ago, you have an even more safe and secure environment. Be advised, though, that we have something like 7,200 students in the district. The vast preponderance of students go about their business in a scholarly manner. We have to deal with those students who do not follow the rules and what I call learning resistant. And maybe I should have said when you asked Paul what we're not doing, we should be doing better, maybe we should be doing that. We're doing a lot on that, but maybe even we should be doing more. And the more is we should be in more contact with the parents before the students enter the buildings. Done. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to remind you, one beep means you have 15 seconds to conclude. Mr. Moore.
How secure is secure enough? I feel in today's world, we can't let our guard down, put it like that. We never know when anything is possible, and this constant being alert and being aware is something that we have to make sure we continue as we move forward. The world is changing pretty fast, rapidly. Things as far as communication and social media, we have so many different layers now that we have to protect, especially with our students, right? So I think we can never be too secure. When it comes to personnel, you think of that nature, in understanding that we have the partnerships with the police department, I think continuing education is a major focus as well, understanding how to identify things that could be happening, having the security guards and the personnel all trained within a certain realm of what to look out for in the building. And also in partnership with the teachers as well, having everyone on that constant high alert of understanding what to look for and what could happen and how to be able to approach it and to be able to diffuse it before it does escalate. I would say also too, just having the parents on board, which is huge, the parents and guardian, whether it's ongoing assemblies in the building, whether it's restructuring the schedule to, something I'm a big advocate of as well too, especially in middle school, you see a lot of students, the first thing they do, they may have a meal that is high in content and sugar that causes them to act out erratically. Maybe we change and shift certain things when it comes to that, where we have extracurricular activity early to be able to get that high energy out to reduce, any type of increase of, frustration or activity or things that they may be going through. So I feel like we can never be too secure enough, but we also look at alternative ways to approach it, which doesn't have students that are excelling to be affected by it. We are not operating under this prison mentality, which I don't like. I don't want to see. I don't want to see students feeling as if they have to go through a vigorous, TSA type screening every day. But unfortunately, it is needed. But I don't want that to be their focal point when they come to the building. We have to find alternative ways to be able to get them engaged and understand the importance of what they're going to school for. And hopefully that will create a different atmosphere on top of the layers of security that we put on an administrative level and the district level that gives them that security and that understanding that they're able to still be able to excel as students and not have that burden of being afraid that I know that students have faced over the last couple of years or so. So overall, I would say is just if we could just rethink some of our partnerships and engage our security teams with our SROs and be able to look to find alternative ways to be able to identify any crisis situations and to be able to diffuse it head on. And I think honestly now, as you can see, we are under a lot of watch. We have a lot of eyes in the sky. So I think with that being said and being able to identify that extra security protocols that we have, it's a huge benefit to the district, and we can never be secure enough. So thank you. I'll leave my time.
Thank you. Question number 8 out of 10. It is often said that parent accountability is an important missing link in the road to success for public education. Do you think this is true? And if so, what specific protocols would you consider to address this issue? We'll start with Ms. Romero.
I've heard people say, hold the parents accountable, but we can't assume what's going on in that household. Protocols for parental accountability regarding students involve two-way communication with the school. How can we collaborate to support each other in fostering our youth's success? Understanding the underlying reasons behind the issues is vital. It could range from various factors, including mental health. We should join forces to ensure the best outcomes for the child, their peers, our educators, and our community as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
Holding the parents accountable, it's a thing where, once again, we're one village, we're one Middletown. So I like to look at it as, let's get involved and see exactly how we can assist the parent with the child. I've seen with situations and dealt with situations where it's a single parent, mom, and she's doing her best. She's working, trying to maintain the household, doing her best. She has another child, so she has to work. So hold her accountable as far as what? No, I'd rather assist if I can. We'll discuss what's going on and try to get them the resources that they need. Because a lot of times people they don't know that there's resources. So we step in and we help them get the resources that they need to assist them with their child. Because once again, we all have to win. So I wouldn't say accountable. I'll say we step up. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Perino.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. As I said in my other answer, I think the parents have to know what we expect, expectations, and this should be done before a student comes to school, whether it be elementary, middle, or secondary schools. We have in place other ways that the parents can keep being informed. We have town halls. We have family nights, which are very, very good with specific topics in each family night. We have listen and learn. We've had listen and learn where a parent can come and meet with the superintendent and a couple of the board members and just be very honest and open. We should also inform the parents, look, if your child is having a problem, here's where to go, whether it's the guidance or whether it's a social worker or a psychologist, whatever. We have all these services. We have also, besides psychologists, we have individuals who go to the homes and ask, why is a person why aren't you coming to school? Why is your child not coming to school? Then they discuss this they discuss the situation with the parents. So these are just a few of the ways that we can hold the parents accountable. You can't always hold the parents accountable by using the big hammer. You have to help them. Parents need help. As I've said before, some parents want to be helpful, but they don't know where to go. They feel helpless sometimes. And as Mr. Williams mentioned, that sometimes it's a single parent becomes overwhelmed. We have to sort of ameliorate this feeling. We have to act as a, quote, a big brother or a big sister to that parent. And we do this, and I think we should continue to do this and maybe enhance the way we're doing it. So that's my answer to that question.
Thank you. Mr. Moore.
When it comes to accountability, it varies in many different facets, especially when it comes to parents, because everyone's in unique situations. And I think for us, if we want to hold the parents accountable, then it requires us to take a step back and assess the entire community as a whole, and look at where we can have specialized workshops that cater to such as single-parent households or our second language of, those who are, speak a second language that may not feel supported by the district, and break it down in a way that we'll be able to show them with the support services that we can gain their respect, and then also have them accountable with the outpour of what we're giving out as far as support services and guidance. Reintroduce the mentorship program. Me as being a father, and I'm pretty sure there's tremendous other fathers out there that could step up to the plate, that could help, support different initiatives and drives to develop more of a trust and accountability from those fellow parents. And then also too, look at the struggles when it comes to childcare, whether we can, have a situation where we could host or have, childcare opportunities that could give that burden off of that parent, to have them to be more engaged as a parent. Outside of that, I would say it's a tough process, but it has to be one that has to be met with someone that's willing to put and invest the time to be able to encourage and increase that parent engagement. And it takes a strong and willing person to do so. And I'm hoping that, collectively as a board and as the community, that we can raise that level of awareness to be able to meet that level of accountability that we wish to have from the parents, and we will definitely see a result in return. So thank you.
Ms. Stark.
Well, for me, accountability and expectations run hand in hand, because parents have to be accountable. The school is accountable to the parent. They educate the children. So the accountability the parent has to have is that they help them with their homework. If they can't help them, then they need to get a tutor. There are services that are provided. So all of the services, perhaps they don't know. So they may have to be informed on if they're having mental health challenges, if they can go to the guidance counselor. They have the various programs in the school. And if the school is not equipped to do it, then they can let them know what services are in the community. But for the school to take on such a heavy burden as to all of the problems that the child face, academics get lost. So I'm not saying, and I'm not being blinded by the fact that these things are needed. But as a single parent myself, am I supposed to say, I'm a single parent, so I need all of this extra help? No. We are all workers and helpers. Yes, it does take a village. But how long are we going to hang on to that crutch that I have no one to help me? There's always a neighbor to help. There's always someone that will assist in helping. So accountability is important, but the school has to give their expectations. And part of the expectation is that there is clarity, that decorum is necessary, that we are not in the business. And I'm sorry that maybe a lot of people may not agree, but how long are we going to babysit everything? Because if a student, a scholar, comes to school and had a bad day that morning, that's okay. But you can't stay there. So we have to encourage the student and the family to do better. How? What help do you need? Let me help you. Do you have a problem with going to the store because you don't have a car. I believe that there are good Samaritans that are always willing to help. So accountability is necessary, but we also have an expectation. It's just like when, for instance, the bus. Students get on the bus, there's one bus driver, perhaps one monitor, and 50 students. Are we all to allow them to run around, scream and yell, throw things out the window, trip people, throw food, curse at people, bully them? No. The expectation from the parent is to get home, for the child to get to and from school safely. Our expectation is that you help us have a safe ride. So parents have to be informed what is necessary, what is required. We all are required to do something. And so it is important that we do bridge the gap of misinformation, and that we also require that they exemplify character, because it is important, that they exemplify decorum, because it is important. So if we work together, accountability has happened. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you're all holding up very well. We have 2 questions to go. Question number 9 of 10. In a recent issue of the publication On Board, the U.S. Surgeon General is quoted as having said, quote, issuing a grim warning in May of 2023 about the harmful effects of social media on adolescent mental health, end quote. The article goes on to state that research has tied mobile phone addiction to poor academic performance, as well as higher levels of anxiety and depression. In his book, The Anxious Generation, Jonathan Haidt states that phones and other devices should be restricted in school buildings K through 12 for the same reasons. What do you think? Yes or no? Mr. Williams?
I agree. I think the school district, we was ahead of the curve on that. We were paying attention. We implemented the Yonder Pouch policy. We put together a system, and now we have schools that are coming up to our school to see exactly what was implemented. What we noticed was the kids started socializing. The things that were done was we put games in the cafeteria, and we started seeing kids playing games like Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man, the games that we used to play when we were young, and actually enjoying each other. And that's what we noticed. We heard from the educators who said, I'm actually teaching class now. This is what the educators were saying. So, yes, I totally agree that it is a distraction, and I think the district did an excellent job with implementing the Yonder pouches, and they actually had us on board as one of the schools that groundbreaking that started this program. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Perino?
Thank you. Most definitely no cell phones in school. When you don't have, when students do not bring their cell phones to school, do not have cell phones in school, you get better engagement, and I've talked to many of the staff members, and this is their term, better engagement in the classroom. You don't have as many problems in the classroom, because when a student takes out their cell phone, I know just how it works. Take out your cell phone, well, put the cell phone away, so they put it away, and it comes out again. Oh, no, you got to put it away, I'm going to take it away. You try to take the cell phone away, and then there's a big confrontation. So no cell phones. A recent, as you mentioned, Dr. Johnson, a recent edition of On Board by the article by, I think it was Robert Flanagan, stated that cell phones have no place in schools. He quoted a article or a book by a psychologist I think it was Robert Haidt, I'm not positive, who said the rewiring, the title was something like Rewiring of the Generation. Again, made the point, no cell phones in schools. We have the yonder pouches. Are they good? Yes, they're good, but sometimes the students have figured out a way around them. Fine. I was reading an article on artificial intelligence. One of the districts has a program, I think it's called Eagle Eye, where they've been able to, without metal detectors, spot weapons that come to school. Now, I'm just wondering if in the near future there'll be a program or a chip that would enable us to, without having the yonder pouches, spot cell phones coming into the building. But again, the responsibility should be on the parents. We wouldn't have to have yonder pouches if the parents said, look, you don't bring the cell phones into the building. You don't bring the cell phones to school. Now, some people say, well, you know, if there's a medical emergency, my heavens, in this building we have, in all the buildings, we have registered nurses. In this building, we have a nurse practitioner. If there's a medical emergency, that's who you go to. You're not going to call up and say, hey, Mom, I'm having a medical emergency. Come on and get me. Come on up from wherever you're working. You go to the nurse. And if the nurse says, well, just lay down here and I will get in contact with your mother, see what we have to do. But that's the first thing. So in another emergency, let's say for some reason the school was on lockdown. If you had everyone calling their parents and come on and get me, Mom or Dad, you imagine what a mess it would be? You wouldn't be able to get through. The emergency services of fire, police would not be able to get through. So leave the cell phones at home. This is a place of learning. It's not a place for to socialize on cell phones. If you want to socialize, you wait till lunchtime or you wait till after school. So that's my answer to that. No cell phones.
Thank you. Mr. Moore?
I will agree to limiting the access to devices, especially, you know, think about it, 7 to 8 hours a day, students are in a building. And just imagine if they're overstimulated with social media from sometimes from the time they wake up. And to bring that overstimulation and that distraction into the building creates an environment where no one could actually get anything done, especially when it comes to the educators. So I'm all in favor to limit that overstimulation and that access to devices during the educational day. Because at the end of the day, they are there to learn. They are there to advance their skill sets in whatever subject area that they may be scheduled for. And having to limit that distractions within the classroom, it creates a better environment collectively. You know, when I worked in the city, we actually rolled out, we didn't do the yonder pouches, but we actually engaged with the students and let them know what the importance of having limited access and allowed them to set up this, what we consider like contracts with them, and understood like, listen, this is what your reward would be once you actually be able to remove yourself from it. And with that buy-in, we've seen the success. We've seen actually a reduction in altercations. We've seen a reduction in just the overall distractions with them within the building. They found themselves engaging in things that they love, whether it was science, math, English. They found themselves engaging more into those subjects, which ultimately helped them prepare more when it came to, you know, whether exams or testing, and also being able to socialize and open up more to the educators. So I'm all in favor for limiting the devices throughout the day, because everyone knows these ad companies and companies out there, you know, they're listening to us now, and I'm pretty sure I'll probably get ads about school board, you know, once I leave out here. So just think about that, having that amount of access from the outside world while you're able to be inside this world, what we consider as, you know, the school and having that being pulled away from you due to someone looking to make a monetary gain on your capabilities. So I would say definitely looking to restrict that throughout the school day, and I'm all in favor for it. Thank you.
Ms. Stark?
Well, I think that cell phones really do not have a place in school. And if you're going to have one, then it should stay in your locker until you go home. And let's look at this. If we have an emergency, you may not be able, we'll go to Uvalde. They didn't have a chance to get to their cell phone. If there's an emergency, the school will notify all of the parents. So whether it's through email, text, round robin, whatever system the school uses, they will notify the parent. We did have an incident, and they were letting out early. The buses could not get up here fast enough. The parents were blocking the buses. So we do have to limit the access of cell phones, because there was one day, there was a fight. Social media knew about it before some of the students did, because they were recording the fight. It was on YouTube. That's not where it belongs. Our business do not belong in the public square. Our business, if there's something going on, or a child is bullying another child and they're texting each other so that they can engage their other friends to incite a bigger crowd, this is dangerous. So for a parent to say, my child needs to call me, how about before there were cell phones? How did they communicate with them? We have to really be honest and realistic about what our child is doing on the cell phone. If you're in school, your cell phone is not supposed to be on. You're supposed to be learning about whatever subject matter that is being discussed by your teacher. Thus, you're creating a disturbance. You're interrupting the lesson. So is it more important for you to communicate with your friends than to learn? Why are they there? Why are they here? They're here to learn. They're not here to talk to their friends during school hours. So it is important that we understand what the proper uses of a cell phone is, and it has no place during the school hour. So yes, eliminate a cell phone is fine. Just like there was at one of the meetings, there was a parent that said, oh, well, my child has diabetes, and so they need to take their blood sugar. That's why there's a nurse on staff, so that the nurse can take it, monitor it, and if their glucose level goes up too high, they know what to do. If it goes too low, they know what to do. The child, a scholar can't really help themselves in that moment because they're taking their glucose level from their phone. So we need to be honest and say, is it really important that my child have the cell phone? It's not going to help in an emergency in most cases. We've seen that all across the country. Parkland, Sandy Hook, Uvalde, Columbine. It's important that we do what's right for all of us. And what's right is that the cell phone stays in the locker if it's going to come to school. Thank you.
Ms. Romero?
My answer is yes, absolutely. Cell phone use should be restricted. Scholars come to school to receive an education. Engagement effectiveness comes from a cell phone-free space, honoring mental health, and it helps students' social development. Thank you.
Thank you as well. Last but not least, question number 10. A new policy comes up for the board's consideration. It becomes clear that the majority will support this policy, but you are philosophically opposed to the plan. How will you vote, and what exactly will you say during your opportunity for discussion? Mr. Perino.
Well, as I said, I think I said this perhaps before when we were talking about boards of education. You vote your conscience. You attempt to come to a consensus on an issue. Sometimes that's not possible. And if there was a policy, let's say for the sake of argument, there was a policy on absenteeism, which is a big thing in the district, and we're coping with absenteeism. We're trying to get to 95% attendance in the schools, which the state wants and the federal government wants, actually. And I disagree with a policy put forth on attendance. I would state why I'm disagreeing with this and why, after discussion, if I don't have my mind changed, I don't change my mind, why I'm voting against this policy. And again, you know, it is what it is. You vote your conscience. So that's it. That's what I would do.
Thank you. Mr. Moore.
So if there's a situation where the board has come up with a policy and it requires a situation where you have to vote on, for me, it would definitely be a situation where you assess the entire policy as a whole. Collectively, you reach out to find out what's the source of the direction of the policy. You also, do your own research collectively, and I'll share your ideas with your fellow board members, and allowing your point of view and your opinion on that particular policy and where you stand on it. And if collectively, if it doesn't align with the others, it doesn't mean that you have to sway to go with what the consensus is as a whole, but stay true to who you are and what your core values are when it pertaining to that particular policy or governance that needs to be voted on. And although we may not agree on everything, but having them understand the reason why you come to that conclusion and provide reliable resources and data behind it to support your decision on why you're making that decision moving forward. So if it's something that you agree on, you can so heartily, let everyone know. And if something that you don't agree on, make sure you have the supporting documentation to help support that decision that you're looking to make. And that's what we're here for. Not everything is always going to be yes, but it also has to align with your core values and what you feel as a stakeholder in the community, and does it align with your vision, your mission and vision, and also in the mission and vision of the board? Does it align with that? So overall, I would say just make sure you have supporting documentation and have your views and your points addressed in a manner that everyone can clearly understand. And if they choose to not understand on that part, you vote with your conscience and your mind and make sure that it's clearly laid out for everyone to understand. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Stark.
Well, we have a right to agree to disagree. So if there's a vote and you don't agree with it, be honest. Tell them why you don't agree with it. It's not going to hurt to give your explanation. Don't keep it from them, because that creates hostility. So it's important to be honest, to be integritous, and wherever you line on the side of that vote, do it with civility. It's important to be a team player, even in things that you don't agree with. So vote your conscience, but always do the right thing. Thank you.
Ms. Romero.
If I disagree, I would ask for clarity to understand the 8 other board members' views. When voting, you always hope that it aligns with the board with the other board votes, but always for the benefit of the kids and their progress. The interest of the kids should always be priority. And when voting, I always make sure that it comes from a place of integrity and values. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Williams?
During the discussion process, I would just ask, could you please give me some more information about why you're voting this way? Now, I'm definitely going to do my homework as far as why I'm voting a different way, and that's when we'll have a dialogue about it. And if I'm swayed and I agree with what they're saying, then I'll vote that way. But if I don't, then I'm going to vote against it. And I think that that's key in our role as board members. The big piece is, if it doesn't go your way, you don't throw a tantrum and stay stuck there, because that's what I've seen. If something doesn't go somebody's way, then they throw a tantrum and stay stuck there. And we can't have that on this board. Certain things are going to go this way, certain things are going to go another way. And that's just what that is. And that's the beautiful thing about democracy. And we need to understand that and accept that. We did our homework. I disagree, respectfully. We vote on a lot of things. So if you stay stuck on what we voted on 10 times ago, and you still have an attitude and angry and think everybody's against you, how are we going to move forward? How are we going to be productive? How are we going to do what's best for this great district? So, thank you.
Thank you. Well, you made it. 10 questions. Thank you very much. On behalf of the community, I want to thank each of you for being willing to step forward and serve in what's clearly a noble endeavor. Having said all that, starting with Mr. Moore, what would you like us to remember?
First, I want to say thank you to everyone that's here presently, those who are tuned in online. It's been a heartfelt appreciation. This is my third time, sitting here, and I feel like it's becoming home, right? So it's a good situation. It's a good feeling. I'll leave with this. I actually wrote a closing statement, but it's really coming from the heart. As I sit here before you today, as a Middletown school board member, prospective candidate, and someone that'll be able to hold a seat. Throughout this evening, I've been able to convey my passion for education, my dedication to this community, my commitment to ensuring that every student gets the opportunity to succeed. I firmly believe that together we can forge a brighter future for our children and in this community. And if elected, I come with a true commitment of bringing my experience, my expertise, and my unwavering dedication to this table. Since I've been here, I've been able to listen, been able to learn, and understand the aspirations of all the stakeholders here within the community. Been an advocate for many different policies, fostering, different equity and excellence here. And I feel like I've been, tirelessly at this for a long time. And it's safe to say that, having this opportunity to be a newly elected board member, it gives me an opportunity to ensure that all our schools are provided a safe and nurturing and inclusive environment for every student. And, I'm deeply invested for all our schools' success. And recognizing that, the key is really education at the end of the day. And unlocking those opportunities to empower all the future generations here within the city. And, giving them access to the tools that I might have, my network, my wife's network, everyone collectively around, I think it will be a huge benefit to everyone that's here within this district. I leave with some words. I love leaving with quotes. In the words of Nelson Mandela, that education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world. And I think that's something that we have to always constantly be conscious of. Education is a tool, and it's a tool that, if it's used correctly, we can shape and reshape, civilizations, organizations, cultures, communities as a whole. And with the right leadership, we have that additional support to make sure that those initiatives and drives come to fruition. So on that note, I know many of you guys could have been at home watching the NBA playoffs, or, I'm looking forward to Friday. So I just want to say, with the continued support, I look forward to being your next elected school board member. I have shown my dedication, my commitment, my perseverance since planting my roots here, my wife and I, and the kids, and I look forward to continue that going forward. So with your honor, I look forward to having you vote next week, and I appreciate your time and your energy for being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Stark.
I want to just thank you for the opportunity to come here and to speak on my feelings about the Middletown School District and what it would mean for me to get on the board and serve. I promise that if I'm elected to the school board, that I would act honorably, integrally, as a team player, to be one of the players that desire the best for everyone, for the community, for our students, for the parents, for the staff, and that we elect the best members, that we hire the best teachers, that we have the best superintendent, like Ms. Creedon, and that we just do our best to make this school shine. We have a lot of great programs, we have a lot of great scholars, and we have a lot of great teachers. And so I would like for that to continue. I would like to see the school go forth, and that the students, that they gain knowledge. One of my platforms is ask, achievement, skill set, and knowledge. Along with that, if we have safety, accountability, and we have an expectations for our students, and we instill character, academics, and mastery of skills, we can go a long way. And I think, as being one of the school board members, actually being early on, before, when my children were little, I was one of the substitute teachers here. And so I do believe in this community. I love this community. I've been living here, and at this time I have no desire to leave this community. So it is important that I invest in this community, and that is my desire. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Ms. Romero.
Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for everyone here, and thank you for everyone watching. Thank you to everyone watching. I am running to continue to positively partake in the ongoing culture of humanity, academics, growth, engagement, and responsiveness. I would like to continue to work on bridging the gap, creating a network across the community to deepen social connection, strengthen relationships, build trust, and organize efforts to team together to impact our school and our community positively. Thank you.
Mr. Williams.
Yes, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone for the opportunity. I am goal-oriented, hardworking. I have numerous relationships in our community. I'm heavily invested in our community. I've been a part of this board that has made numerous positive changes for our youth as well as our families. I totally support our youth as well as our district employees. I am Team Middletown. Thank you.
Mr. Perino.
I love this community and I love this district. I was born here. I've served the community from going into burning buildings to delivering food during the COVID and everything in between. If there was one word, I want to illustrate that with maybe a little story if I have time. David Halberstam, great nonfiction writer, 20th century. He wrote the book, which I'm trying to get through, not having too much success, The Best and the Brightest. And he tells a story of Vice President Lyndon Johnson being introduced to President Kennedy's cabinet. And he was waxing poetic to Sam Rayburn, who served in Congress for about 30 years, saying how intelligent and brilliant people were on the cabinet, McNamara, Rusk, Robert Kennedy, and so on. So Sam Rayburn turned to him and said, you know, Lyndon, they might be right, and you might be right to their, concerning their intelligence, but I wish one of them had run for sheriff. Now, what he meant with, I wish one of them had experience. So if there's one thing, I do have experience, and I do have wisdom. And that wisdom has been obtained through sometimes bitter experience, as you know, Dr. Johnson. So that's it.
That's it. Well, well, well. The evening comes to a close. It's been my pleasure to serve as your moderator. I will make the observation, I think you've each represented yourselves very well. But as I want to say, I'm just a guy. Thank you and good night.
It's-